Have you ever wondered what are the absolutely basic tools you need in order to do web development? At the end of this series of videos, you'll know how to start your web development projects like a pro by going step by step with me through all the basic tools you'll need to start your web development learning. There are 4 essential tools that every web developer needs in order to create their websites or web applications, to collaborate, to improve their work streams, and these ones are the browser, the code editor, the terminal, and the version control system. In this series of videos, I'll be talking about these 4 tools, plus we'll get to go to the fun stuff and use each of these tools with very basic examples. I am super happy to know that you're starting this journey with me, guys. In this video, I'll be sharing with you the most fundamental tool you'll need as a web developer, and that is the browser. Yeah, we all know what these bad boys are for, in a way. Probably you are in your computer, laptop, iPad right now watching this video, and all of that is powered by the almighty browser. Now, what is a browser and why do you need it in web development? It must be obvious for you because we have been using browsers for many years now, but in a nutshell, the browser is where we all display our amazing websites and web applications. Most of us have taken the browser for granted, but how does a browser work? The browser is the client side of a website. It is where the interface is presented. But how does that information comes in? Well, what is happening is the client side make a request to some servers, which we call the backend, and retrieve that information in order to present it back again to the front end or the end user in this case. Just to give you an example, this is what happens every time we visit a website. We start typing the URL of the website, we submit our request, and then this request is sent to the server, which we call the backend. If the server responds with an status 200, which is an OK, then we receive all the information we need for that website. So the client starts downloading all the files needed, which in this case are HTML, JavaScript, CSS files, and also some assets like images, videos, or whatever else is needed. And this is finally how the website comes alive. Ta-da! Now, what does the browser works with? So we know that the browser processes files like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and basically there's a reason why the browsers can interpret JavaScript, and this is because they have a JavaScript engine, which for different browsers it is a different engine. In the case of Google Chrome, the engine name is V8. And there are many others you can check as well. Now, what are all of these files in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Now, first of all, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. What it is representation of a document in a website. Okay, now CSS is cascading style sheet, and all it does is to enrich your websites with stylings, like for example colors, typographies. You can change positions of certain elements in the document and many other things you'll see in the future. Now, what are these JavaScript files doing? They are actually handling the logic on the website. Like for example, when we click on a button and certain pop-up appears, or when we fill a form and we submit this form, there are certain actions happening there that JavaScript handles for you. Now, what are the existing browsers out there? There are many, I won't mention them all here, but we have Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, Internet Explorer, Edge, and many others. Now, why do we care that there are many different browsers? Well, as a developer, this is a crucial thing to know. And why? Well, because we are developing websites and web applications for people that are using all of these different browsers. I am not going to go really deep on this because this is something you will benefit more when you have more experience as a developer and you'll know what are the expectations in your job, in your company, or if you're a freelancer, it depends what are the expectations of the client. So this is something you will need to revisit in the future when you are a more experienced developer. But at least be safe to know that all the major features of JavaScript are supported in the major browsers, so this is something you don't have to be worried about at the moment. Now, one of the most important things to know as a web developer is that you can debug your code on your browser. And you may think that every browser provides you with this functionality, but the reality is that just a few of them can do it. And for this, we normally use Google Chrome and Firefox. So if you want to check your code in Chrome or Firefox, what you will do normally is go to the section we call the developer tools. And don't worry about it because I'm going to be showing you how we download these browsers, how we use the developer tools to debug our code, and also a simple example of code running in different browsers. Before we go any further, guys, if you're enjoying this video, remember to like and subscribe, as this will help me to release more videos for you and help you. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you how to use the developer tools. For this you will need to use Chrome or Firefox, so if you don't have it installed, then I'm going to show you how to if you don't know. So for this we'll need to go to Safari if you are on Mac, or if you are using Windows then go and use Internet Explorer to download it, or I don't know, maybe Microsoft Edge. And yes, let's go to Safari. Let's put here some download Chrome. You should already know how to do this, but just in case, here we are, and here we can see it. So we can just download Chrome. Again, I am downloading it, but I'm not gonna install it because I already have it installed. But this is something you need to do, guys. So in order to use the developer tools, preferably use Chrome or Firefox. But basically what we are going to do is that we are gonna run this piece of code I have written here. It's just an HTML file, and we'll see how to inspect this code on the browser. So yes, I have opened my browser on this port. It doesn't matter if you don't have it, this is just for demonstration purposes. So once we are here in the browser, what we can do is click on Option Command I, and this will open the developer tools. The other way to do this is just to right click on the window and go to the inspect button there, and it's gonna open it again. Okay, so once we are here, we see that we are on the Elements tab, and here we can see all the structure of the HTML. So here we can see our label, we can see our input, and this is basically what we have here in our piece of code. We have a label, here we have an input, and this is what is actually showing up here. So this way we can debug what is actually being displayed, what is actually running. Another thing we can do on the developer tools is to go to this console tab and write some JavaScript code like cons. For example, this is a variable cons x equal 40, let's say. Well, let's say instead of x, let's say y, and then if we call y a variable, it's gonna display 40. So that's another thing you can do on the developer tool. So there are many things actually. You can do the same on Firefox, for example. So if we go to Firefox, if you have installed, go to it or download it, and if we do Option Command I, we can open the developer tools and inspect this website where we are. So to do that, we are here on Inspector. This is like the equivalent of Chrome for Elements, and we can click on this little arrow to pick an element from the page. And for example, if we hover over these elements of the page, then it's going to show only that part of the page. Like there's a lot of meaning to why this is displaying in these different colors, like the padding and margin, but it's something you'll know after. If you click here, you'll see that it will take us directly to where that element is on the HTML element. So in that way you can debug your code. The same thing you can do on Chrome. So if you come to Chrome and you click on the little arrow, you can inspect the same way. Basically that's what you need to know about the developer tools for now. And the other thing I wanted to show you is how the elements are presented in different browsers, and this is something you will realize when developing. So for example, if we take this same page and we show it on Safari, let's go to Safari, and we show it here, then we'll see the same input element here, but it is styled differently, and this is because each browser has its own default definition of styling on the HTML elements, and this is why it is presented differently. Like if we, I don't know if you can see there well, but if we zoom there, you can see this here, like I don't know, this input element has these borders like a bit more like with a shadow, whilst on Chrome it is just like a well-defined border there, right, on black. So what I'm saying here is that the code could look different on different browsers, and especially on JavaScript you have to be aware that certain features of JavaScript are not present on other browsers. But again, don't worry about it right now. And the other thing is that on the code I added here, we go to our code, we'll see that I added an event listener. Basically, it's a function that will check if someone typed in something on the input element. So if someone types something, then this hello is gonna be shown on the developer tools. And I'm showing you this just so you can see how we can debug our code. So if we come here, developer tools, and we click on console and I start typing something here, then the hello should be shown here. Let me just clear this up. And okay, so let's say, I don't know, something. So the hello is showing 15 times because I've written 15 characters. If I remove this again and I do it again just once, then there it is. Do it again and 2 times printed hello. So yeah, that's it. That's everything you need to know about the developer tools for now. You're just starting your journey, so don't complicate with this. This is just like for you to know that these kind of things exist on the web development world. For now, this was a quick look into what browsers are and how they can help us in our development process. And this is all you really need to know about browsers as a beginner. In the next video, I'll be talking about code editors and how this is a massive advantage for developers. See ya in the next one. Bye bye.